I'm Ian McConnell, and I'm uncomfortable with Ian McConnell. This is Uncomfortable with Ian McConnell. Brought to you by Pivotal Moments Media. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to Uncomfortable with Ian McConnell. We're calling this Uncomfortable because, A, you gotta call it something. Everything's gotta be called something. But also because it's just kind of uncomfortable to be alive and try and figure out how to do that and get around all the things. And just being uncomfortable is just kind of a state of being for me at this point, and I'm trying to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because if I can do that, then I'm gonna win. It's gonna be great. Woohoo! All right. So, anyway, I am Ian McConnell, and I am going through a thing at the moment. I've been going through a thing for a little while, and this thing is that all the goals that I used to have, I don't have them anymore for one reason or another. The small goals, I achieved them, and that was great. The big goals, I was like, man, there's a lot of sacrifice involved in like making all of those things happen, and I don't think I'm actually willing to make all those sacrifices. And then all those things in the middle is just kind of either outcomes that I'm like, I just don't really desire those anymore. They're no longer really important to me. Or it's like, okay, cool, you could do that, but there's just all these other things to do. And so now I've just felt like I'm shuffling around in circles because I don't feel like I have any goals of where I'm going. But if I don't have any goals of where I'm going, I feel like I gotta have some goals of what I'm doing right now. So this is what I've decided to do right now. I don't know if it's good or bad, but this is what I'm going for at the moment. I want to spend the least amount of time doing things that I don't want to do. How does the next part go? We're starting off strong. It's amazing. I want to spend the least amount of time doing things that I don't want to do. I'll put in a day of honest work, but only when I absolutely have to. I used to romanticize the grind, but it lost its charm, and I've come to find that if life's something I can optimize, why shouldn't I? That's just kind of how I'm dealing with things now, you know. In a nice reverby fashion. This is cool. Thanks for being patient. This is cool. Anyway, for now, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know if that is a good thing or not. I feel very lazy at times. I feel like 24-year-old me would call 27-year-old me lazy because I'm just trying to be the most efficient, and I don't know what the goal is for efficiency. The only thing that's obvious is time. So I'm going to try to not spend time doing things I don't want to do. But that does beg the question, what do you want to do? At the moment, the thing that I've realized that I really love doing is learning stuff, which is convenient at a time like this because you can learn anything at any time with the little box in your pocket. You just are like, I wonder this, and then you go, what is the answer? And then Google will tell you the answer, and it's amazing. Before that, people just had to be like, I wonder this, and someone's like, oh, I heard this from my Aunt Marge, and someone says, I knew this from my Uncle Blank, and you fight about it for a long time, and now Google can just solve all those fights, and that's great. And you can learn anything from Google, which is fantastic, and it's all for the low price of selling every little piece of information about you to the great Google in the sky. I've actually been learning lately, all that data doesn't live in the sky. They call it the cloud, but it's not really in the clouds. I thought that I mean, it's dumb, but I thought that it did. I thought that it was, but it has to live somewhere. It's like on a giant supercomputer somewhere. And there's some giant supercomputer out in the middle of the Amazon or in the regular Amazon, one of the Amazons. Or actually not, I guess if it's Google. But Amazon knows stuff about you too. I mean, they all seem to know things. But they know things about you, and it's kind of sweet, you know? It's just kind of like there's this human desire to be known, you know? And Google kind of fulfills that. Google's like, hey, I know you so well. You know, I saw this thing, and it made me think of you. Do you want to buy that? And you're like, I do want to buy that. That's so sweet, Google. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be known like that, although it does kind of lead me to a place of a little bit of fear in feeling like this. No human being will ever know me half as well as Google does. They've set impossibly high standards with their zeros and their ones. Why search for love? Just give it up and surf the internet because no human being will ever know me half as well as Google does. Thank you. Thank you. I do believe that. I do believe that no human will. They'll know you in different ways, and that'll be great. But at the time, I'm like, all I want right now is to be known, and Google knows me. So I'm not like out searching for someone else to know me because the internet does. You go on TikTok, and it shows you exactly what you want, and it's amazing. And at any time, you can just be entertained by pretty much anything. I am never bored. I'm never bored anymore. The internet does so many things. It allows people to work from home. I work from home now. Lots of other folks that I know work from home, which is awesome because you knock out a day's work from your kitchen table and then go take a nap in your own bed because you're already there, and then I like go for a walk around my little neighborhood, and it's awesome. However, I have noticed that because I don't have the need to go somewhere and spend time with other people every single day, it's really difficult to like make yourself do that. And by really difficult, I really mean it's just way easier to do not that. Because chilling by yourself is the bomb. I love hanging out with myself. I'm amazing company. You know, I have been hanging out with myself for 27 years. I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I pretty much do what I like and not what I don't like when I'm by myself. And it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm in a place now because of, working from home and all that kind of stuff where I don't have to do other things. So then when I choose to then in my free time spend time by myself, I feel like I'm doing something wrong because I feel like I've been told through research and whatever. I don't have any good sources for this, so maybe I'm spreading fake news, but that humans are social creatures and that we need other people. We need to like rely on other people and hang out with them, and that's how we get, great the good hormones in our brain, the good chemicals, all that kind of stuff. So then when I hang out by myself, which is what I feel like I just naturally want to do, I'm like, I'm doing what I want, but I shouldn't want this. And so then I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to go and fill my schedule up with all this stuff. And then I'm like, oh no, but I could be doing what I want to do. And now I feel bad that I'm not doing that. So I'm going to go do what I want to do. And then I'm just going to feel bad here that I'm not doing what I should do. And I have a great superpower of finding angst in happy situations. Any situation that I'm in, I'm like, how can I find a way to make this suck a little bit? Just a little bit. But it's a conundrum. I never know what I should be doing, but that does feel like the thing I'm constantly considering. I think maybe I had a better segue into this, but I think that was good enough. Okay. Living alone, working from home, spending a whole lot of time on my own. Keep up with friends, but I'm doing the most. Socializing through the screen of a phone. This is a dream, this is a life. All of the problems I deal with are mine. I've got a highly educated mind. I'm pretty good company most of the time. It's easy to not make any plans. Give in to inertia and stay right where I land. Am I wasting the time that's on my hands? Or should I keep living this introvert's fantasy right now while I can? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but my therapist tells me to stop saying should, because I'm always like, I should want this, and he's like, says who? And I'm like, I don't know, says people. And he's like, who are people? I'm like, I don't know people. You've seen people, right? I actually don't know if he's ever seen people. I've never seen him see another person that wasn't me, because I always go in there and I'm the only one there. So maybe he only ever sees me. That would be crazy. What a weird life that would be if you only saw me. I don't know about that. Given what I've told you about me, it sounds like I only see me, but I don't. I do see other people. But when I'm in these cycles of finding angst in the things that I want to do and stuff like that, I don't have the lucidity to be like, it's just, what is this should? It's all nonsense. Life is short. Do what you want to do. You only have a little bit of time here to do these things, so just do what it is that you want to do with your time. But that's only on the good days. When the bad days come and you just kind of keep going down and down and down and down and down, it's really hard to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to hop over into this like better frame of mind now. So a few days ago, I was kind of bottoming out. I was just like, man, I should be wanting this, but I don't want to do this, but I do want to do this, and I shouldn't, and all this stuff. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try a new tactic. I'm going to try speaking to myself as if I were speaking to another person, because I find that I'm much kinder to other people than I am to myself. And maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe that's another person thing. It does seem like most people are that way. way, unless you're a very mean person. Although I feel like even if you're a mean person, you're probably still meaner to yourself, because why else would you be that mean? It just doesn't benefit you to be that mean to other people. But anyway, this is where I've come to this week. This is where I've come to this week. At some point next week, I'm sure I will be dealing with all sorts of different mental hurdles that I've got to jump over. But at this point, this is what I'm telling myself. And maybe it's going to work. We'll find out next week. Here we go. This, by the way, this podcast is presented by Pivotal Moments. Thank you to Pivotal Moments for sponsoring us. Thank you to Almost Friday for where we're shooting. Thank you to all of you for showing up today. This is super fun. After this, we're going to have an interview with a lovely friend of mine, Spencer Crandall. Here we go. Bro, it's not that serious. Take a step back and breathe. You don't gotta know it all now. Naturally, you're on your own weird little adventure, and stop feeling bad about it. It'll be okay, it'll be okay, you're gonna be okay. So, you feel a little bit lost, your foundation was shaking until the corners fell off. You want something, but you don't know what. So what, you're gonna mope around about a bunch of things you can't control. Right on, you can do whatever you want, but if that's true, why would you choose that? Cause, bro, it's not that serious. Take a step back and breathe. You don't gotta know it all now. Let it come about naturally. Go on your own weird little adventure and stop feeling bad about it. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. Cat solo. Meow, 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 meow. Dog solo. Ruff, 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 ruff. Whoa, the sunset's pretty. Gotta admit, this is an alright city. You've grown up a lot since you showed up with a stage name and business cards. That kid was hungry and delusional, but had a pretty good amount of sex. A lot more than you do now. Wasn't that what this was about? Oh well, priorities change. You don't want dirt on your name, but you did recently say that you still wanna have a hoe phase. Oh well, you just have to wait, and you'll be ready again. So motherfucking chill out, relax, be cool, cause bro, it's not that serious. Take a step back and breathe. You don't gotta know it all now. Let it come about naturally. Go on your own weird little adventure. Stop feeling bad about it. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. Let's sing that together. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. You got it, come on. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. One more. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. You're gonna be okay. Amazing. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. I'm gonna be okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now we come to the next section of our day. My buddy Spencer Crandall is going to come up here, and we're going to talk a little bio about Spencer Crandall while he comes up here, and I slide over to the left, and he moves that over here, and he moves that over here, and I move this over here. Spencer Crandall is he's a better tennis player than I am. He's a worse Settlers of Catan player than I am. We're about the same at Spikeball. He's a musical artist. He has something like 200 million streams on all the streaming stuff like that, which I personally think is too many streams, but they didn't ask me.
Been saying
so
that.
I do, good for you, I guess.
Thanks,
That seems like too many, but he's a wearer of hats, and he has cool shoes.
Thanks, dog.
Yeah, did I pretty much sum you up nicely?
That is literally all I am.
That's amazing. Cool. I'm gonna slide
nothing
this
more,
over.
nothing less. Yeah, you're definitely better at Catan. Thanks for the tennis nod. I appreciate that. Honesty's good. How's everybody feeling? Good? Hey, awesome.
I forgot a guitar stand, so I'm just gonna kind of.
We have friends.
I do have friends, but I also have a guitar case.
Oh, wonderful.
A guitar case. So
Yes.
Spenny, young
What up,
Spenny,
dude?
also known as Spencer Colorado, Stephen Crandall,
Seth Cranberry.
Seth Cranberry.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So many great aliases.
So many.
Great aliases. What do you feel like you should be doing?
So much more than what I'm doing.
You do so much more than anyone else I know. Certainly more than I do. I spent a whole year trying to be you.
That's fascinating. We've talked about this.
We have. We talked at least twice in history.
We talked literally twice yesterday.
We did.
I compare myself to a version of me that is like really awesome, and then even if I hit 98% of the awesome I'm trying to achieve, I beat the shit out of myself for some reason. I'm trying to, like, it's so funny that you just played that. Like, I actually got goosebumps when you were playing that because I actually felt myself like breathing. I was like, oh yeah, like it's not that serious. And I'm the only me that I got. So why am I so mean to me? That just makes no sense. I feel like I should be with a record label. I feel like I should have, you said that career streams number. And I'm like, oh, that should be blah, blah, blah. Like, I think there's just a natural pushing of myself because I'm a determined person. I played sports growing up and I have that kind of attitude. So here's where I struggle is that's what's gotten me this far.
Yeah.
And it's pushed me really far and I'm so proud of that. But I also don't want it to like a author I love says that it can come on the road trip, but it can't sit in the front. It can't pick the music. So like it can hang out still. I love my determination, but it can't become burnout. It can't become anxiety because can all of a sudden just ring in your ears and it can literally keep me up at night. All of a sudden you're like getting sick for no reason. You're like just literally worried sick. So I'm trying to not worry about that. And we talk a lot about, we were talking last night about control. Like what is in my actual control? I'll worry about that stuff. What I can do today, the songs that I can write, the people that I can keep up with. If it's anything outside of my control, I'm trying to just open palms, let it go, fly.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's not working, but I'm trying very hard.
You say that about the 200 million streams. I've been trying to like make differences between what is a goal and what is like a benchmark or what is like a milestone.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you're saying 200 million streams. You're like, oh, what you think it should be higher? I would assume you think, yeah. I mean, that's to me, that's like, oh my gosh, that's so high. And to so many people, but of course to you, it's all about like where are you now? And you're just like, oh, well, if I achieved it, it was obviously possible. So I should have done better.
Exactly. Right? And I think I've noticed in my career, in my friends' careers, in my peers' careers, there's always somebody who wants to be somebody. So I'm trying to just like my own somebody.
Yeah.
Like, actually, my journey's really cool. Nobody has my story. I think that's really cool. You know, I've always said this, like when I got here, I wanted to be my friend Tyler Rich. And Tyler Rich wanted to be Dustin Lynch. And Dustin Lynch wanted to be Luke Bryan. And Luke Bryan wanted to be Blake Shelton. And Blake Shelton wanted to be Garth. And Garth just wants to be me. Garth wants to start over and to like go through the journey again and enjoy it. Yeah. And I think that's, if you can kind of understand that, like, you know, the journey is the goal. The process is what we have. So let's enjoy the shit out of that. And really everything else is out of my control. I can get hit by a bus. I could put a video up tomorrow and it could get 20 million views. It could change my life. All out of my control.
Yeah. Man, do you like that enjoying the ride? How often are you able to just kind of like to step back and like just like, oh, this is rad?
I had to be super intentional.
Yeah.
Like it's a big part of, it's like a real habit and something that if I don't put like on my calendar, which is almost embarrassing. Like I do like gratitude and I read this little daily stoicism book. And if I don't do that, if I don't like prime my brain, it's crazy how easy I forget all the lessons that I've ever learned.
Yeah.
And so I just have to be really intentional, especially in the big moments, because I can feel like this is a big moment, but it's not bigger than so-and-so's. Or, yeah, but a bunch of people have done this. Or just compare it to my own moments and be like, yeah, but I've done it before. And trying to like, I was really proud of myself. I got to play the Grand Ole Opry, which was awesome. And my big goal was to be there for real. Don't compare it to anyone else's debut. Don't, you know, try to underplay it or overplay it. Just be there. And I like was looking at the pictures on the walls and I was hugging my parents. And I try to remind myself of that night because I did it really well. But I was like intentional for like 3 weeks before it. Like, you're going to be there. You're not going to be mad at yourself. You're not going to like judge yourself in any way. You're just going to enjoy it. And so I try to do that with shows. I try to do that with writes. Just like I came here to write songs. That should be fun. That should be enough.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like ask myself too, what is enough? Do I think the stadium is enough? Because if it's not enough now, it's never going to be enough. And that's kind of the like secret is that it's never going to be enough. So just enjoy it at all phases, hopefully.
Yeah. What were your like expectations of how you were gonna feel at like the Opry or something like that?
Sure.
Or did you have them, or were you trying to go in with no expectations? Maybe that's your vibe.
I think my honest answer is that I was afraid that I was going to not enjoy it because I felt like a lot of times I feel like an outsider in Nashville because I'm not with a label or I'm not doing what some of my peers are doing who I came here at the same time or whatever. So sometimes something like the Opry, I just am like, yeah, but other people have done it or whatever. So that was kind of my expectation. But again, trying to operate in like a vacuum and be like, this is cool shit, and just enjoy it for what it is. So it's harder said than done. That's the reality is I have to push myself. Like as much energy as I spend beating myself up, I'm now trying to spend that same energy pushing myself forward and encouraging myself and speaking to myself in a way that's like good for me. And I can actually feel the difference. Like a week where I'm kicking the shit out of myself, I feel bruised, I feel battered. And then other weeks I'm like, when I have grace, and I think especially patience is a big one. I think I struggle with that. So just trying to hold on to those things. I don't know what the Opry was supposed to be, but it ended up being perfect because I just let it happen. Like whatever was going to happen, happened. And
that does seem to be the trick. Just kind of like, because there's so many things that are out of your control. All you can do is show up and play your thing. I was thinking the other day about like performances that I gave in my youth. I was like a cello player and I would like do, I played baseball and all these things. Yeah. And really the only performances that I remember are the ones that I messed up.
Isn't that funny?
It's so funny. I'm just
I feel the same way when I go to a concert. Like there's character in somebody messing up. There's character in somebody getting off script. There's character in somebody tripping because they feel real. They feel endearing to me. And so I try to remind myself of that. Like nobody's here to see a perfect human being. They're here to see me. And I'm definitely not perfect. So they're going to get a missed lyric. They're going to get a story that ends up going nowhere. They're going to get, I'm going to like come in off, but it's that little intricate imperfections that I think make it really cool, especially for fans who like see you online. Like I think we talk about this a lot. Like, what is your life like online? What are you willing to share? What is the perception that you want to lead? And I'm trying to be better at like, actually I'm not perfect, and I'm not perfect on purpose because the people that have impacted my life are far from perfect. In fact, they're the people who are willing to like rip open their chest and be like, this is my diary. And you're like, oh shit, that's my diary. And then you go, I'm not alone, you're not alone. And then you have community. Then you have solidarity, and solidarity is super underrated.
Yeah. That is true. I often experience in my moments of like, I'm gonna be so honest, I'm gonna be this like very open artist and yada 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 yada, and then like 2 days later I'm like, I can't get the cat back in the bag now. It's out. I have said other thing already. 100%. Oh no. And if I take it down, then it's just gonna look obvious, and it's probably not. Like nobody like cares that much, everybody. You're just kind of, you exist as like this character to everybody, which is like kind of you, and it's you can get it as close to you as you can, but at the same time sometimes I wonder, like, is it better? Sometimes I'm envious of people with a stage name, like Lil Nas X. Like when he's like on stage, I'm like, no one is like, that's Lamar,
right? He gets to like kind of like Hannah Montana. You get to like put on the wig, and then you get off stage and you're like, and now I'm Miley. Yeah. But I watched Hannah Montana growing up, and I am Spencer Crandall at all times. And sometimes it feels like capital S, capital C, where like people are spending money, or there's money on the line, or you're talking to your manager, you're like, how many people are supposed to be there for me? That's weird. And there's other times where that gets really hard to separate from, I'm just a guy who needs to go to the grocery store, or I'm just a guy who is hanging out with my friends or my family, because I get stressed that I need to be plugged into Spencer Crandall, the artist, at all times. Otherwise he'll like die, or he'll go away, or he'll be forgotten, or he won't keep growing at a certain rate. And when you don't separate them, then when Spencer Crandall starts to do bad music, and bad is super subjective, but in my head, right?
Just less good than you were.
Correct. Then I feel like I'm bad, which is not true. Maybe that certain song didn't perform on that certain playlist, but it has nothing to do with my character. It has nothing to do with my integrity, but it can feel that way because I'm not Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. I'm just Spencer Crandall and Spencer Crandall.
Right. I know you've done the majority of your touring in the last like year and a half, right? Before that, you didn't do a whole lot, but you had grown a lot online and all these things.
Yeah.
How do you feel like those numbers, like, do you feel like you're better able to contextualize?
Both
Conceptualize. Yeah. Do you feel like you have a better sense of like how many people is 3 million people? Do you know how many people that is?
No.
I don't either. I mean,
I've done this before because I was trying to intellectualize it, and it's like so many football stadiums.
Yeah.
And after one football stadium, it's like, what the fuck? Like a singular one. And that's what I remind myself. Sometimes be like, oh, that video got no views, got like 25K views.
I know.
That's an arena of people.
Yeah.
Like if all of them watched me make that video, I would have shit myself. So I'm actually pumped that that's happening. I'm pumped that there's still growth. I think over the last couple years with the touring, I tried to tour forever, and literally 4, 10, maybe like 18 people would come to a show, and I just sold out my hometown like little honky tonk thing of like 1,800 people over the weekend.
That's amazing, dude.
Just crazy. Yeah, thank you. And I say that to say, I looked out in the crowd and I literally thought, why are you all here? How do you know who I am? Because I'm just a guy who made videos in my room. Right. I'm just a guy who made videos in my car. There isn't an instant feedback loop when I go home. People aren't knocking on the door going, hey, just want to introduce myself. I'm Karen. Like, that's not how that's happening. Yeah. It's just accruing. So it's really hard to understand. And the labels don't know. I don't know. Like, it's a Wild West right now because it's so hard to gauge. Does this translate to this, but does that translate to that? Yeah. It's all over the place. And I don't have a great concept of it.
Yeah, or context. I mean, even.
Or both.
Yeah, man, knowing what translates to what, especially now, because like I'm thinking all the time of like how new social media is. Like, I mean, it didn't exist at all 20 years ago. 20 years ago? When did Facebook? 2004, 2005, maybe?
Decades ago.
Whatever.
Yeah.
When I was born, it didn't exist.
No.
Not that I was using it at birth, but that would have been pretty cool. I could have been a really famous baby. Do you think that would have made my life better now?
Much worse.
Much worse. Yeah. It does seem that famous babies don't do well.
Rarely.
Yeah. Or maybe the E-Trade babies.
They're kicking it. They got lots of money.
But I don't know that they're real babies. Well, they must be real babies, but they're not really talking, unless they're just very talented.
Doubt it.
Yeah. Knowing what translates to what, and like, because I tend to consume most of what I consume online, and I go to concerts, but like this year, like I have listened to 100 and something artists already, and the 2 concerts I'm seeing are Taylor Swift and John Mayer, who are like the 2 of the biggest artists ever, and so I'm just like, okay, but what about the people who are like me? Like, why would anyone go see that if like, okay, we can go to 2 concerts, let's go to Taylor Swift and John Mayer. It's not Taylor Swift and Ian McConnell.
And that's
like, why would you do that?
I'm trying to always trick my own brain and realize that the artist and the fan brain are different. Yeah. Because a lot of people want to just kind of like play for one or play for the other. But I think what's important as an artist is to realize, how am I adding a value to a fan to the point where they'd actually come to a show. And that takes like depth, not just width. So that 3 million number, all those football stadiums, that's cool. But if no one's showing up to the shows, then there's a surface level knowing. What I want to do, what I'm trying to do, and what I'm actually kind of struggling at right now is to create enough value long term that people go, yeah, fuck, I have to go see that guy. I have to go hear those 5 songs. That's a different thing than just, I know your face from a thing.
Right.
You know, like there's like getting recognized at the grocery store and buying a VIP ticket, buying the merch, standing at the front row for 3 hours when the doors first open. That's another level. And so I'm trying to ask myself, what would I want as a fan? You know, I'm a huge Justin Timberlake fan. So like, what would I actually want from him? Right. And trying to like replicate that so that my fans hopefully feel like he actually gives a shit about us, especially as a guy without a label. Because that's all the fuel that I have. I don't have the $1 billion budget. I don't have all these at-bats at the radio. I have people on the internet.
Right. I was about to ask you about like your time as a fan. Like, when do you like feel like you have like fan mode? Yeah, like for Justin Timberlake or for whoever. So. What does that look like for you?
It's definitely changed. I I had a couple friends who would tell me, like, be careful that you're getting into music because it'll change. Like, somebody was like, if you make sausage all day as your job, you might not want to eat sausage for dinner.
Right.
I was like, what do you mean? Music's my life. And then they were right.
Yeah.
Like,
now we listen to podcasts.
Correct. So it's definitely changed, but I think it just raises the bar in a lot of ways for yourself and for other artists. And then when something does break through, you're even that much more of a fan because you feel like you actually, like, it broke through that stratosphere of like, whoa, I now consider this a great song, or I now consider this great production or a great show. So when someone does it, I'm that much more of a fan. And I think I'm trying to constantly like learn from people. That's not just like a thing that I say. I actually want to go to a show and be like, what about this? Why do I either not want to come back to this because I thought it was boring as hell, or am I like, that's addicting, that's fun, I had fun tonight, did you guys have fun? That's hard to do. So I'm trying to like be a fan in a way that is just celebrating, and also comparison's the thief of joy. So I want to be a fan of all my peers. I want to be a fan of all the people. I heard someone say the other day that they just said, I have no competition. And it wasn't in like because no one could compete with me. Right. It was like because I do a thing and all those people do a thing, but it's not like against each other. We're kind of all running the same race. And I think that's kind of cool. That like pushes me more towards fandom in a way.
Yeah. Do you listen to your own music?
A lot when I'm making it.
Yeah,
and then a lot
listen,
on the road.
Do you listen to the finished product ever for fun?
I definitely once a year go back through my whole discography.
Yeah.
I'm both mortified, sometimes impressed by like a young Spenny Cran that's like, "Aw, buddy, that was a good melody," and I pat myself on the head through the multiverse, and that's nice. Yeah, I think I do have a weird thing where I probably almost like disrespect the music I put out a little bit too much. Like I'll go back and listen to it and be like, that's not as bad as I thought that was.
I've noticed you have a great tendency of like, I'm just always going to beat myself, you know, like whatever I've said, like, okay, that's the high watermark. I'm going to beat it every time.
Which again, brought me this far.
Totally.
I'm like thanking that guy, but eventually like I'm looking at the last thing I made and I have the voice right now that's like, now it's time to kick the shit out of that thing. And I'm like, I don't know if I can right now. I really like that thing. It's pretty new. So trying to like calm that guy down again. You can sit in the back seat. Right. But you can't sit in the front. You can't pick the music. Yeah. It's hard. And I'm also trying to love what I do without like as much judgment on the mixes and the production and the writing. Cause I like going back and going, I think we've talked about this. Like, it's like a little timestamp of who you were.
Course, yeah.
And I think that's really sweet. I mean, maybe other people are like his mixes are shit, but for me, it's really kind of cute to go back and be like, that's who I was in 2015. I valued that, or I really thought that. Yeah. And now I might not, but it's like, it's better than a camera roll. It's better than a scrapbook. It's like, it's such a deeper piece of your heart. So it's kind of cool. So yes, I do listen to my own music sometimes.
Yeah, man, the impetus to like, okay, I've made this thing and like now I have to like beat it. It fills me with so much fear because I'm just like, okay, but like how? Like do I recreate the other thing? Like I don't know how to do that. I'm like constantly always trying to find whatever the thing of the moment is, but like what if it's too different? What if everybody who came on now is like, we like your old stuff?
Yeah, I'm having an anxiety attack as you're saying all this.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like even right now in my artist career, I don't know what to make.
Same.
I don't know
either. I think you and I both have a kind of a bratty problem, which is like we saw the success that a lot of people wanted to see. Mm-hmm. Everyone got on TikTok. Everyone posted the videos. Whatever, the universe, the god of TikTok, booped us at one point, right? Yeah. And that happened, and it translates to streams, and it translates to cool things. And then there's a different thing that happens when you're like, hell yeah, we did it. Then you go, but can you do it again? Yeah. Or could you do it bigger? Or could you do it 10x? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh shit. And then there's pressure there. Mm-hmm. And the things that I made that got booped were made under no pressure. They were made out of love. They were just made because I was sitting with my friends and we were goofing around. Someone's like, what about this? But I can feel the pressure in writers' rooms sometimes. And so I just have to be like, I try to trick my brain. It doesn't work all the time, but I'll be like, this is never coming out. So never get put on the internet. This is your diary. This is for you. And if it ever, gets past that, we'll deal with it then. But that's my really kind of weird coping mechanism to be like, this is not compared to, like a gold single or X amount of streams or whatever. This is just this thing. This might be a horrible voice note you listen to in 5 years. This might be another thing that changes your life. But again, control, I have no control over that. So trying to like focus on just loving it, and hopefully the love, which is, it's cliche, but it's true. It's true. The things that you just make when you're just in that place where it feels like you're actually capturing it. You're not like constructing it. It's like a Pokemon, and you just throw a Pokeball and you're like, holy shit, I have this thing. Right. That's really special, and I'm trying to just be better at that.
Yeah. Oh, I had a question. I do the same thing. I do the same thing of like, especially when I'm writing something, because I write a lot by myself, and it's very like, I'll get like a verse and a pre-chorus, and it will just have like flow, and then I'll like be playing through. I'm like, oh, this is good. And as soon as I think, oh, this is good, I'm like, oh no, what happens next? And then I'm just stuck. I'm stuck. And then I have to try and trick myself into being like, it's just for you. You're the only one who's ever going to hear it. But like, I don't believe myself anymore. Like
That's
the trick has almost like worn off. Like I need a new little magic blindfold.
Yeah, if anybody has any more of those little like fortune cookie style sentence long tricks, would love to hear them. You're so right. It's tough to like, the novelty wears off on a lot of these tricks, and I am trying to just love what I make, and I think a big part of that is people, for me at least, like in the creation process, because that can trick my brain. I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my friends, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, we wrote a cool song. So hopefully that's part of it. That
is a great power of creating things with other people. Community. Because as soon as you're like, someone else is like, dude, it's cool.
Don't stress.
Yeah, it's cool.
I try to like, I guess I would call them like a wise counsel of people that I text, I call. My manager's great at this. I'll be like, hey, I've gotten better at this, which might sound weird to some people, but I'll just be like, I need you to tell me that this is okay if it doesn't blow up. And sometimes just someone else being like, dude, of course. I'm like, oh, I'm not crazy. Like it's a thing. And it's really hard in today's day and age where you can watch in real time your streams. Yeah, that's tough. That is tough to not compare to in a good or a bad way. So. Yeah.
I have been a junkie for that before. Ooh. Man, there was that whole June, July of last year. It was just like every hour. It's like how much jumped up.
Oh my gosh. I mean, still like I can't sit here and like tell a lie. Like I do it every day. Oh yeah. I check my Spotify every day. My Spotify for artists. I check YouTube stats. I check my TikTok.
Go extra long on like without TikTok so that when the notifications thing pop up, you
get a whole batch.
Yeah,
exactly. Today. So it's tough not to.
Yeah, we're about to need to wrap up, but one thing I wanted to ask you, because I have recently realized that this is the case. Are you aware that there are other people that desire your life?
I think like intellectually. I don't know if I've like let it sink into my little heart, but
I don't know if I don't know how to let it like sink in.
That's how I feel, and I think this is a big come to therapy with me, folks. If I let it sink in, it becomes real. Yeah. If it's real, it can embarrass me. And so if I let someone say, "Oh my God, I wish I had what you had," and I was like, "Really?" In my brain, for some reason, I go, "Psych, you idiot." I don't know what that is. I think obviously kids stuff or like.
Well, you think that they're saying that to you?
Yeah, I think they're gonna
like
say
tricking you.
Correct, like or that over time that would go away, and once you have it and then it goes away, there's the heartbreak of having it, then it goes away.
Yeah, and then you're somebody where everyone's like, oh man,
I wanted to be that guy
his potential.
I feel that way. If I'm just being honest, I feel that way about certain people. I wanted to be them, and now I'm like, maybe not. And I don't want that to happen for a multitude of reasons. And I think that's natural. I think it's human. I'm not going to beat myself up about that kind of gross thought, but it's real. I think in the last 6 months, especially over the holidays, I went home and I like journaled a bunch, and I just thought, and I just was with people I loved. And so much has happened so fast that I haven't had a chance to like really sit with it. And I had a few moments where I was just looking at old pictures or being like, wait, that was last year. That was all last year. That was whatever. And it's just it's a gratitude thing. Like I feel very humbled, and I feel very blessed, and I feel very lucky that I get to do what I do, not in the cliche, because that's what I'm supposed to say way, because this is the coolest fucking job ever. That I could say something and someone goes, I feel that. and I feel it to the point where I want to scream it at you on the same night as 1,800 other people. That's incredible, and I know that a lot of people want that because it is such a incredible feeling. And so it's not lost on me, but I'm trying to like let it sink deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think the older I get, the more I'm like, no, that's pretty fucking cool. Just let it be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do envy your certainty in a lot of things, you know?
Certainty and delusion, a fine line. Hi, I'm Spencer Crandall. This is my memoir.
You want to play a song? You want to play a song and we'll close it
let's
out?
do it.
All right, cool. Here you go. I don't know if you need a cape, but you have one.
Is it standard?
Standard, yeah.
I'll go no cape.
You can have a Dylan Rockoff pick.
Hell right, brother.
Yeah. What you gonna play?
Check, check, check.
Oh,
I feel like a lot of that. Can you do your wheel thing as I'm? Check, check, check. Hello. Oh yeah. I'll play a song just about. I feel like this whole conversation points to a song that I have about kind of judging ourselves, and I have this really big goal to play a football stadium one day. That's kind of like part of the certainty maybe that you're talking about, and some days I'm like, that is ridiculous. How dare you? And other days I'm like, I'm going to actually do that. And I always say like 1% dreams require 1% sacrifice. And I believe that. And it's gotten me this far, and I'm proud of that. But there's also a part of that where the sacrifice becomes real. And I'm going, you know what I have last year is like whatever, how many streams, ticket sales, blah, blah, blah. You know what I don't have? A girlfriend. And there's just a part of this life where like I'm not going to the grocery store. I didn't go to therapy last year. I'm not in love. I don't call or text my brothers back as much as I want to. And so although I'm working on all those things, there's a price. There's a price for chasing a dream. And I think in a city of dreamers, song makes a lot of sense. It's called Side Stage. I want a house on a hill and a household name. I want a #1 plaque in a golden frame. Take a private jet to Whitecaps, White Sand. I wanna be the one in a million chance. I wanna sing my songs to a sold-out crowd, make them lose their minds when the lights go down. Feel the rush, pack it up, take the bus to the next place. But what's it all worth at the end of the day? If there ain't nobody on the side of the stage. I've been missing my siblings, mom and dad. But I've been so busy I don't text them back. I've barely been back home in a whole damn year. Barely got friends there, barely got friends here. 'Cause I'm busy trying to sing my songs to a sold-out crowd, make them lose their minds when the lights go down. Feel the rush, pack it up, take the bus to the next place. So what's it all worth at the end of the day? If there ain't nobody on the side of the stage. Yeah. It might make a good living, don't make a good life. I can't find the one if I can't find the time. Am I trading my dream of a family? Trying to fill every one of them stadium seats, just so I can sing my songs to a sold-out crowd, make them lose their minds when the lights go down. Feel the rush, pack it up, take the bus to the next place. So what's it all worth at the end of the day? If there ain't nobody on the side of the stage. I don't wanna wake up when it's all too late. And there ain't nobody on the side of the stage.
Yeah! Woo-hoo! Spencer Crandall, everybody. Hey, have you been comfortable?
Absolutely.
Bummer. This has been Uncomfortable with Ian McConnell. Thanks so much for Pivotal Moments, for sponsoring us. Thanks to Almost Friday for having us here. Thank you to Jeremy for running all the great equipment. This has been wonderful. Thank you to all of you for being here. It's lit. Thanks. That's a wrap.